how can we be an effective Bhagavatam speaker? Because speaking Bhagavatam is a very, very important service. So before I start this presentation, I just wanted to tell you one story. Those of you know me and have attended my class, you know without story, my class will not be complete and I'll have an indigestion problem if I don't speak a story. So it's like this. There was this one, this is a very common story. Most of you have heard it if you have had an Indian schooling. You know, there was this cap man. Welcome. So there was this cap man, and he goes for selling caps regularly, colorful caps. And on those days, they go from village to village for selling caps. So when he's passing from one village to another, they have to pass through a forest. So one Sunday afternoon, it was a sunny afternoon, he took lunch and he was feeling tired, so he was taking rest under a banyan tree. When he got up after his rest, what he sees that the monkeys have taken up all his caps, just like they do it in Vrindavan, you know. And he tried everything like we tried in Vrindavan. You know what Vrindavan monkeys like the best? What is that? No. Fruity, yeah. If you've been to Vrindavan, you will know that they don't agree on appy also, only fruity, you know. So he tried everything with the monkeys, you know. He was throwing stones on the monkey, and the monkey threw the fruits back, and he was making sound, and the monkey was jeering back. So now he didn't know what to do, but he understood one thing, that the monkeys are imitating him. So he just threw his cap, and the monkeys also threw the cap. So immediately he picked up all the caps and went away. This story we all know from childhood, we are hearing. Now the newer version, few years ahead, his grandson, same thing happened to him. He was with his caps of bag and he was sleeping under this tree, and then when he got up, he saw all the caps are gone. So he remembered, oh, what my grandfather told. Oh, it's very simple. So he just took out his cap and he threw it on the ground. And immediately this small little monkey came and took that cap away also. And he said, तुम क्या सोचते हो, तुम्हारे ही है क्या grandfather? Grandfather हमारे भी है. So, you know, we also have a grandfather. Do you think only you have a grandfather? Even we have a grandfather. And our grandfather has told us what to do. So the whole point that I was trying to make is that we can't keep doing same things, you know, repeatedly. We'll have to change. Generation badal raha hai. Pehle kya tha? Bhagavatam class means Bhagavatam class. You speak about Bhagavatam. But now it's not like that. Bhagavatam class means you have to be a Bhagavatam class specialist. Not only you have to be Krishna conscious, you also have to be audience conscious. What kind of audience you are talking to? Whether you are talking to a scholarly crowd, or you're talking to life members, or retired people, or brahmacharis, or grahasthas, or you know, old people, young people, donors, life members. You have to be audience conscious. And sometimes there are some devotees who are simply prasadam bhaktas. They're just waiting for you to complete the class so that they can go for prasadam. You know, it happens like many times, you know. Like I remember I was giving, thank you so much. Thank you. And the printouts, if not asking for more, printouts. Parijat Mataji knows about it. Thank you so much. So, yeah, and the Prasadam Bhaktas. You know, I remember once I was giving one class, and, you know, at the end of the class, I was waiting for question answer, and I asked them any question, and one devotee raised hand, and I was so happy that he has a question to ask, and the only question he asked is, Prasadam ka time kab hai, you know. And I understood, okay, fine, you know. So I said, yeah, Prabhuji, मैं खत्म कर रही हूँ 5 minutes. So it's like that. And I am reminded of one more story. You know, you've heard about Bhakta Tukaram, right? You know, he was an amazing singer, and he used to sing so melodious bhajans, and people used to get mesmerized by his voice. Sometimes hours together, people used to sit and hear him. But even if they sit for hours together, after some time, people have to get up and go. They can't keep. So, you know, every day he had this thing. He used to, you know, sing bhajans, and people used to sit for some time and they used to go back. But वो तो अपनी आँख बंद करके उनको पता नहीं है कोई है नहीं है जा रहे चले जा रहे. And then next day morning, you know, when he opens his eyes, he sees nobody is there. But one day somebody was sitting. And he became very happy, you know, whole night this devotee is hearing to my bhajan, and he said, I bow down to your devotion. He said, stop. I'm just waiting for that mat on which you are sitting. I need to take it back home, and that's my mat. And if I don't take this mat back home, my wife will get angry with me. So even we may have that kind of devotees in the crowd who are simply waiting for us to close it because they have an audio seva and they have to close the mic and go. So we have to speak Bhagavatam effectively, because speaking Bhagavatam is, it's for us also, because the symptom of a devotee is he has to talk about Krishna, right? Tushyanti cha ramanti cha bodhayansa parasparam, they have to talk about Krishna. So we have to learn to talk about Krishna. In fact, if I tell you something, you'll say like, how is that? Anybody who wants to achieve the goal in Krishna conscious life, they'll have to talk about Bhagavatam. Why? Because the goal of our life is to go back home, back to Godhead. And Krishna says, if you want to go back home, back to Godhead, you have to keep me in your mind. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Now, if you want to keep Krishna in your mind, you have to know enough of somebody to keep them in your mind. And okay, even if you know enough of Krishna, at least you'll have to retain it also. You may have so much information, cross-ventilation goes from here, this year, but when we speak, then we are able to retain this information. So when we do Shravanam, and after Shravanam, when we actually do Kirtanam, then the Smaranam happens. So we have to do Smaranam. If we don't remember Krishna, then we will become a remember of this material world. So it is so important. And not only that, our going back home, back to Godhead is largely dependent on the blessings of the Vaishnava Acharyas. And Srila Prabhupada wants us to preach, because Prabhupada said ISKCON means chant Hare Krishna, preach Hare Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, whatever is Bharat Bhumi te janma vele, janma sarthak kari karo para upakar. Srila Prabhupada wants, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants, Krishna wants, 18.68, 18.69. So we have to speak. And when we speak Bhagavatam, it is something like, I remember when I was a young girl, when somebody is getting married or something, our only service was gate pe khade raho and, rose water, sprinkle rose water on people. But I remember when we keep doing that sprinkling of rose water, it gets sprinkled back on us. And after some time, we smell of rose. So when we start speaking about Bhagavatam and we start connecting people to Krishna, even we get connected to Krishna so strongly. If we give Krishna, then we get Krishna, right? So yes, we'll have to speak Bhagavatam effectively. So what are the ways of speaking Bhagavatam efficiently or nicely is not written by me or my experience. It is written by Sutta Goswami. So here it is. This is a very, very... qualified teachers can make qualified students. See, if a lawyer fails or a magistrate fails, what happens? A person will be wrongly given, फांसी हो जाएगी 6 feet above the ground. If a doctor makes mistake, 6 feet below the ground, you bury. But if a teacher makes mistake, the whole generation is gone. So if we are not qualified speakers, and then we don't make the other people who are hearing qualified, the whole parampara will be vanished. Now, I am from South India, and I have seen in South India, there were some amazing, big gurus. But after they left, their legacy is not continued because they did not produce or they did not make qualified students. So it's so important that we speak it in the right way. And in fact, we remember, I'm sure we all have that experience that somebody spoke very nicely and that made us devotee. And we may also have a negative experience that somebody didn't speak well and we were put off ki bhai yahan pe aaye kyun, right? So yeah, it is like if you speak nicely, you can make devotees. You can, with nice Bhagavatam class, you can actually make bridges. Otherwise, you can construct walls also. People will never come back if they have not spoken well. So here, Sutta Goswami in the Skanda Puran, Bhagavatam Mahatyam, he gives the details on what is the 5 qualifications, spiritual qualification for a Bhagavatam speaker. He says Bhagavatam speaker should have this 5 qualification. He should be Bhagavan Matihi. A Bhagavatam speaker has to be Krishna Matihi, Krishnarthi. So, this is like, you can give Krishna only if you have Krishna. If our consciousness is not pure, Bhagavatam class is not a physics or a chemistry class that I will by heart something and then I'll come and speak. I can do that and you may be impressed also, but there will be no transformation. There will be only information. If the transformation has to happen, it has to come from the heart. That means our heart also has to be pure. So we have to be Bhagavan Matihi. So now, after hearing this, somebody may think, the name of our organization is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We have to be conscious of Krishna, only then we can make others conscious of Krishna. But when we hear this, we may feel it's too lofty. हम अभी process में है, we are practicing, we are not Bhagavan Matihi. That means, can we not be an effective Bhagavatam speaker? Yeah, we can be. But at least we should try that. If at all some bad thoughts or something that is not conducive for Krishna consciousness comes in our mind, we should not give it space to stay for longer time. For example, I'll tell you, I know especially the Matajis can relate to me. Coconut water अगर आपके साड़ी में गिरता है ना, तो उसका दाग जाता नहीं है. Coconut water or a pomegranate juice, if it spills on your sari, the marks don't go. The ladies are so sharp. Even if they are in the middle of a program or something, if something has spilled, first thing they will go to the restroom and wash it off, because they know it should not stay for longer. Immediately, see, Ariel and Surf Excel, they give advertisement, but it's not true. Dhag jata nahi hai. You have to immediately clean it, Similarly, a thought comes in our mind. Don't allow it to stay. Immediately remove it. It's not that thought will not come. It's not that anti-devotional or non-devotional thoughts will not come. But don't allow it to stay for longer to make a mark. In ISKCON Vizag, we have a guest house, and below the guest house, we have a small seminar hall. And sometimes we give it out on rent to people, and we tell them this is the condition. You can put a sellotape and put charts for birthday parties or for Namkaran, but you can't put nail. Because if you put a nail, फिर उसका hole हो जाता, But if you put a sellotape, you can still manage it. So we have to make sure that no thoughts are made, get inside like nail. And then there's another thing. We may not be Bhagavan Matihi, but we can, while we connect others, if we stay connected, then also at least we can be on that Bhagavan Mati mode. For example, I'll tell you. Let's say we are in some famine hit area and we are starving. There is no food. And some relief worker, koi NGO, comes and say, okay, I have food. And they give us some bread to eat. We are eating the bread and we ask them, do you have some more bread? They said, yes, please follow. We have a whole storeroom and warehouse of bread. So now you are just following them and, going behind them. Now, because you have that, generosity, you will tell others, come, they have more bread. And you will connect people, okay, let's all go. But what is important while you're doing that is that your eyes should be on that relief worker while you connect other people's hand. If you miss your eyes with that people, you will miss the way, and others who are following you will also miss the way. Sometimes this is what happens when we start speaking. Jab tak we were not speaking, now we actually sometimes we are one way a better devotee. You know why? Because when we are not giving Bhagavatam class, we hear everything for how to bring a change in my life when you hear a Bhagavatam class. But once we start becoming speaker, the only thing is how to use this point in my class. That's the whole point. We are already ready with the book and come on. And that's what is happening. So yeah, it is okay to reproduce that in your class, but what about our consciousness? We have to work on that also. So a Bhagavatam speaker not only has to hear other Bhagavatam classes so that they can give better Bhagavatam class, but sometimes, once in a while, they should also hear classes without book and pen just to make about a change in their life and raise their consciousness also. Otherwise, they won't be able to connect, with people. So Bhagavan Matihi, that's a very important point. And second thing, anapeksha. A Bhagavatam speaker should not desire anything in return. You should not desire for money, like the professional Bhagavad. In ISKCON, we don't do that, at least in the gross way. We don't expect anything. Desiring for money or desiring for name or fame or whatever. I'll tell you my personal example. When I started giving classes, and then one of our congregation devotee came up with this idea that, Mataji, whatever classes you are giving, we'll cut them into clips. And short stories, whatever you are, so we will post it. So I said, fine, I have no objection. So in the beginning, they were showing me, is this okay? This clip can be posted? And I said, yeah, it's okay. And after some time, I thought it's becoming a time waste for me. Anyway, it's my class and I spoke. They don't need my approval. So I said, go ahead and you can post wherever you want to post. One day while I was, doing some work on Facebook, I came across my own clip. And how that clip was, it's my class and every slide has a symbol, Facebook, like Facebook, joined. And I thought, this is crazy. So I called them, why are you doing this? Why is there, the Facebook symbol and Instagram symbol? Why do you do that? They said, Mataji, prachar ke liye, it's for preaching. I said, I understand if you want to preach. What you can do is, at the end of my clip, maybe you can give one slide saying that, okay, if you want the whole class, whatever is given in this clip, you can follow this, but don't keep it on every. See, the Bhagavatam speaker should not be like, aapko mera class acha laga to mujhe like kariye, share kariye, follow kariye, subscribe kariye. That's not the way, That's not our motive. The whole point is I want more followers on my YouTube channel. I'm not giving Bhagavatam class for that. And if that is there, you won't connect to people because people are very intelligent. They know, do you want to give them something or do you want to take something from there? Sometimes you see like people will be promoting their book sales, they give a class about, something related to their book and then you have a question and they'll say, no, that is there in my book. You can buy my book. Sometimes people get pissed off with that. Okay, I will buy your book, but I have a question and you have have written that book. Can't you answer it in 1 minute? Just tell me. And I will definitely buy that book. But you need to buy that book, you buy that book. So we have to be very careful. If people think that you want something from them, they will just close their heart. They don't want to listen to you anymore. So we have to be careful with that. Then comes Suhrida, friendly to all. A Bhagavatam speaker not only has to be friendly from deep within the heart, but even the body language also has to be very friendly. There should be a smile on the face. Sometimes some Bhagavatam speakers are so serious, we really start believing that this world is Dukkhalayam after looking at them. Probably they just want to convince us that this world is Dukkhalayam. Just look at me, how Dukhi I am, No, Bhagavatam speaking has to be nice. You just give a smile, doesn't take anything. Just say, already people are suffering in this material world. Just, let them feel that, devotees are happy. Give a smile. Body language, your voice modulation, everything is so important. The pitch, the way you speak, everything makes an impact. It's the fact that I simply tell Hare Krishna to you, I can tell it in 10 different ways. And I can piss you off with the way I speak Hare Krishna. You'll say, I don't want to hear this class anymore. So we have to be so careful how. And we actually have to be Suhrida. We can't do acting. It will not work for, long time. It has to come from the heart. So as I was telling, because see, giving Bhagavatam class is a responsible service. You are doing something on behalf of Krishna. So that has to be, see, there are 4 A's. One is, you accept God. A for accept God. Second is, you align yourself with God. Third is, you act for the pleasure of the God. And the fourth is, you act on behalf of the Lord. These 4 things has to happen. You directly can't jump off to, acting on behalf of the God and Lord and trying to connect people. You first have to have firm faith. Yes, I have firm faith. It's not that I'm just parroting what I'm saying. Yes, I believe in Krishna. I have faith in Krishna. So you have to, accept God. You have to align yourself with God. That means follow the 4 regulative principles. Have a proper morning sadhana. If you're not having a proper morning sadhana, if you're not walking your talk, people are not going to listen to you. People are not going to get affected by what you speak. See, people listen to you only if they like you as a person. If they don't like you as a person, they won't hear. Close your eyes and tell me about one person who will say that, Mataji, I don't like that person, but I like his classes. It's not possible. You like the person, then only you like the classes. You cannot say that, he speaks knowledgeable, let me hear. No, if you don't like the person, you don't want to hear. Even if he may speak great, you say, just switch off to some other channel. So you have to like the person. So when will that come? When that devotee is actually Suhrida. See, in fact, Emerson, he says one thing very interesting. Emerson says, what you do shouts so loudly in my ears that what you say, I can't hear. The way you behave and talk and all, people can see it very clearly. And what you say, they can't hear. They see your behavior. People are like CCTV cameras. They're watching you all the time. Now, I'll give you one of my personal example. Many years ago, I was giving a Bhagavatam class. So, Bhagavatam class, and they'll give you that Mahaprasadam garland, right? Lord's Maha garland. So, I was wearing the Lord's Maha garland. After 10-15 minutes, I started getting itching all over my body. I thought, what happened? What is there? Then I saw the garland was full of ants, There was like ants moving around, red ants everywhere. So I took it out, I put it on my table, and I told a devotee, this has ants, take it out from the table. Because once the ants will start rolling in the, everywhere. So they took it out. That incident happened a couple of years ago, and I'm not even conscious about it. Last year, I met a devotee, and he shared this with me. He said, why I became devotee? I said, why? He said, that garland incident, I was so touched by it. The way you have responded to the situation instead of getting angry, agitated, so coolly you said that touched my heart that yes, this is how ISKCON devotees are. It's not they just talk about it, but they actually practice it, how to control one's. So, definitely this is not, please don't take it as self-praising. I just want to give you some example how things work, So people are observing our behavior, how we are talking, walking, and we have to be very careful. That's why, one very great person has said that actually preaching does not require talking. If you can preach whole day, if required, you can talk, because your whole behavior will preach, People will be touched by your behavior. And whatever you are inside will be outside. See, you cannot act for a long time. Just like that famous analogy of Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj became very famous, na? You squeeze a lemon and lemon juice comes out, you squeeze an orange, it became very famous and it became viral. And how true it is. Unless and until we make a conscious effort to develop these qualities, it will not come. That is why you see, if you have to give a Bhagavatam class, and if you want it should be effective, and if you want that people should connect, whose blessings you required? Krishna's blessings. And when will Krishna bless? When Krishna sees that we are having that qualities inside. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga, from verse number 13 to verse number 20, Krishna has given around 31 qualities that he wants to see in his favorite devotee. In fact, I have given a series on this. It is a very, very eye-opening topic, that how Krishna has already given us a blueprint of what he wants to see in his favorite devotee. So from the verse number 13, Krishna says, Adveshta, my devotee should be non-envious. Adveshta, sarvabhutana, maitra, karuna evacha, nirmamo, nirahankara, sama, dukkha, sukha, shami, santushta, satatam, yogi, yatatmam, dridinischaya, mayyarpita manobuddhi, yomad bhakta same priyaha. That kind of devotee. Yes, mano dvijate loko, lokano dvijate chayaha. He doesn't disturb anybody. He doesn't get disturbed by anybody. He's a suhrida, he's a maitri, he's non-envious, he's sama, he's equal to all. Such wonderful qualities he has given. So, unless and until we make a conscious effort to develop those qualities, whatever we speak will not be effective, because it has to have Krishna's blessing, right? Unless until Krishna blesses us, it won't be effective, and Krishna will bless only if we develop those right qualities. So, Suhrita. In fact, Krishna also says, see, these are what we are talking about is the internal, what we have to develop. But Krishna also said in Bhagavad Gita chapter 17 verse number 15, Anudvega karam vakyam. Yeah, I can give you that verse. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priyam hitam cha yat. Krishna says that we should speak, non-agitatingly, we should speak truth, we should speak pleasingly, and what's the next one? Satyam, truthful, priyam, pleasing, hitam, beneficial, and non-agitating. Anudvega karam vakyam. This is the austerity of speech. So if we don't do that, we can't connect to people. We should be pleasing. See, the first word, satyam, truth. Yeah, as a Bhagavatam speaker, we'll speak the truth. But truth should not be spoken like a prescription, like a doctor's prescription. Aisa karo, aisa karo. You can't start instructing people. Imagine you are in the Bhagavatam class and you start giving instructions. People are not going to like, unless and until you have invested in them. If it's your own crowd and you have invested, you have given them lots of love and affection, they know you personally, they want to take instructions from you, they will love it. But imagine you are invited to some temple to give Bhagavatam class. You don't know the congregation there. You don't know whether they are 16 rounders or 20-year devotee or 25-year devotee, and you sit on the Bhagavatam class and you start giving instructions. They're not going to like it. They want to hear your instructions. So we have to see what kind of crowd it is, and the Bhagavatam class should not be instructive unless it is your own followers or somebody whom you need to instruct. Neither it should be prescriptive. It should be descriptive. Just say what's the truth. That's all. Like what Krishna did to Arjuna. This is the truth. This is the truth. Now you do whatever you want to do. Just open their eyes. They will select. Now I'll tell you one example. There was this little boy, a 15-year-old boy, and he wanted to commit suicide because he was upset with his life. So he wrote a letter to his English teacher saying that I want to give up my life. So his English teacher, instead of giving him an instruction that don't give up your life, he said, very well, I can't stop you from giving up your life. But I remember that when you were studying with me in my class, you write very nice essays. If possible, can you write an essay saying that why you want to give up your life? That's all. The fact that he said that word, that you write good essays, that made him feel so good, and that person became H.G. Wells, who wrote 84 books. I'm sure you must have heard about H.G. Wells, very, very famous author, 84 books. Just that one word changed his life because somebody said, yeah, I remember you write good essays. That's it. Just showed him something good in you. Just showed him the truth and allowed him to decide. That's very important. Satyam. Priyam. It has to be pleasing. Whatever you are speaking should be very sweet, very pleasing. Then people, see, if you yourself are agitated and excited and all, people they want peace. So it has to be very peaceful with the right modulation, with the right kind of pitch, with the right kind of voice. Now I'll tell you one example. there was this husband and wife, right? They got newly married. So, when newly married wives are very obedient, at least for the starting 2 months, they are obedient. After that, we don't know. So that starting 2 months will be very sweet, They will touch the feet of the husband, Prabhu, all that will happen. And this husband was, his voice modulation. So for everything, he was threatening her. Where is my hot water? I have to take bath, If you don't make my hot water ready, then I will... So she used to get very afraid. No, Prabhu, please don't say that. I'll bring the hot water. Okay, where is my prasadam? If you don't bring my prasadam, then I will. No, Prabhu, I'll bring the prasadam. For 1 month, she got frustrated. This man, for everything, he will say, otherwise I will. So she went to her friend and said, my husband is all the time threatening me like this. Now, that lady, her friend was smart, She said, okay, you ask, Prabhu, if not what? Let's see what he says, So she got all the guts next day morning, and then next day morning, her husband started, where is my hot water? If you don't give me hot water, otherwise I will, make my water ready, otherwise I will. Then she came out from the kitchen and she said, otherwise what you will do? Otherwise I'll take bath with cold water. He said, that is what I've been trying to tell you last 1 month, but you're not allowing me to complete the sentence. If you don't give me, I'll arrange a cold water. Now, the whole thing is the voice modulation, the way he's speaking. It's like threatening her. So, our Bhagavatam class should not be like a threatening, Sometimes, some speaker, they'll speak like that. Krishna said that in the Bhagavad Gita. Come on, it is good because sometimes some people sleep in the class, But you don't have to always do it, You can be kind and you can be nice, right? So it has to be pleasing and it also has to be beneficial. See, I run a school in Vizag. It's called Divine Touch School. So I have around 220 children. So what I do during the parent-teacher meeting, whenever we have a parent-teacher meeting, I tell my teachers, don't outrightly start telling the parents, aapka bachcha pad nahi raha hai, your child is not studying, is not doing homework. Be nice to the parents, because the moment you start speaking like this, they will make a defense wall. They don't want to hear you anymore, At Divine Touch, we try to be as kind as possible to the children. In fact, I'm so particular, if you know the Indian system of education, you have to get at least 35 marks out of 50 or 100 or something. At least out of 100 actually, you can get 35 marks means you are pass. Below 35, you are not pass. And sometimes some children are so poor, in study, they will get maybe 30, 32, 31, and just for a few marks, I don't like to fail them, Usually I tell my teachers, kitna marks hai? Ma'am, 2-3 marks se fail ho raha hai. Don't fail, He must be having some good quality. No, ma'am, he doesn't have any good quality. I said, fine, at least he's coming regularly to school. Yes, ma'am, he comes every day. I said, uske liye de do 3 marks. Okay, no, ma'am, some students, they don't come regularly also. Ma'am, regularly nahi aa rahe. Okay, fine, he comes in a uniform. So I keep, trying my best. I remember one time one teacher was telling me, ma'am, ye 3 marks se fail ho raha hai. So I said, fine, give for punctuality. Ma'am, he's not punctual. I said, give for polishing shoes. Ma'am, he doesn't polish his shoes. I said, give for uniform. No, ma'am, he doesn't wear proper uniform also. I said, give for doing his homework. No, ma'am, he doesn't do homework also. I said, does he smile? Yes, ma'am. I said, give for beautiful smile. I said, give 3 marks for a beautiful smile. He's smiling, right? So, we try our best, just 2-3 marks. Bacche hai, that day they didn't reproduce, kya ho jayega wo 3 marks ke liye. It's an advertisement for my school. If you want, you can join your kids. So, so I tell them. No, it's not a boarding school. So I tell them, when the parents come, the first thing you start is you glorify. You're doing such a good job as a parent. We are so happy. The kid is doing good in this area, but... And then you can start, but this and but this. So what happens the moment you praise the parent, heart is open. Now whatever you say, fine. But the first thing if you start, now what happens, I'll tell you. The man is working, the women are working, and then if you start telling that the child is not doing good, ab ghar jayenge rasta mein, from school to house, both husband and wife will fight. Because you are working, that's why teacher has complained. No, because you are working, you are not giving time. And as a result, बाद में क्या होता है, पति पत्नी के झगड़ा में इसलिए पढ़ना नहीं चाहिए. Because बाद में they become okay, फिर school change कर देते हैं. So I don't want they should change the school, that's the whole point. So we have to speak, pleasingly. We have to speak in the right way. And anyway, as devotees, We are good-hearted people, is it not? We are good-hearted people. That is why we want to preach, because we got something and we just want to share it with others. In fact, I remember one very beautiful story of Ramanujacharya. So Ramanujacharya, he gives sannyas, right? He's a Vaishnava guru of the Sri Sampradaya. So he saw there was this one man, he came to Ramanujacharya and he said, give me sannyas. He said, what is your qualification? He said, I have been married for last 40 years. This today morning, my wife expired. And just look, no tears. Completely detached. You can give me sannyas. So he said, fine, wait. Then another man came. He was crying and falling down. And what happened? And my son died and I don't want to live in this world. You better give me sannyas. He's crying. Immediately Ramanujacharya gave him sannyas. So this man said, this is crazy. This man is full of maya, thinking about his son and crying. And you give him sannyas and I am detached and you don't give me sannyas. So Ramanujacharya made a very interesting point. He said, that man is attached to his son. He has love and affection for his son. So now my job becomes very easy. Just dovetail that love from son to Krishna. But you, man, you have no love. Somebody is 40 years with you and you didn't cry a tear. I can't create love. I can only dovetail love. If you love somebody else, I can make you love Krishna. But if you have no love, I can't create love. So devotees means, they are soft people. They are soft-hearted people. So we have to speak satyam. We have to speak pleasing, priyam. We have to speak in beneficial way. See, people don't care how much you know. People want to know if you care. That's very important. They don't care. You may be knowing. See, nowadays knowing things is not big thing. Even Alexa and Siri knows better than us. You go to Google lady, she can tell you better. Quote from this, she'll immediately quote Prabhupada from here and there. And now what to speak about, the AI has come. Tuck, they will give you answers. It's not about how much information you are able to store and reproduce. That will not going to impress people. People care. If people want to know, if you really care for them, if you're really having that in their heart, if you're really their well-wisher. See, sometimes, devotees, if somebody asks a question or something in the class, we should be very careful not to mock them, not to insult their intelligence. Sometimes to show how intelligent we are, we may just try to put them down. This is the question. Actually, have you read Gita? Gita padhi hai kya aapne? Nahi padhi kya? The way they talk, when they ask a wrong question or something, go ahead and just read the Gita. Where is written? No, that's not the way. We have to start from where they are. If a student is in LKG, you start from LKG. You don't start taking sentences. Like I'll tell you, if there is a new crowd and you start speaking about Sanatan Goswami's blanket, it will not make sense. Or you start speaking about Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Chamatkar Chandrika, it's not going to make sense. You can talk something where we are on the same page. Like sometimes when I give classes and I want to talk about austerity or something, I start talking about Lal Bahadur Shastri. Of course, now it again depends from audience to audience. Now, if we are giving in a temple full of brahmacharis and we are on that level, that's a different thing. But that's why I said in the beginning of my presentation that we have to be audience conscious also, apart from being Krishna conscious, so that we give the right example. And then we don't start quoting scriptural authorities that they still don't know. Now I have seen speakers who will start speaking about Ramananda Rai's conversation in the middle of, they don't even know still. They're not even started Chaitanya Charitamrita. So even when we are giving a Bhagavatam class also, we should be very careful what we are speaking. See, one thing is there, when we speak Bhagavatam, it should not be about how can I impress these people and how can I convince them that I have a lot of knowledge. That should not happen. See, sometimes it becomes too extreme. Either you want to convince them that you have a lot of knowledge, or sometimes what happens, you are not prepared for a Bhagavatam class. So what you will do, 15 minutes Mangalacharan, 15 minutes Jai Radha Madhav. And another 15 minutes is left and speak something and finish it up, because you are not prepared for the class. And that should not happen, One should be very calculative, and not waste people's time. In fact, I was hearing somewhere that His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, for giving one class, he prepares for 6 whole hours. And somebody asked Maharaj, 6 hours? And Maharaj said that I don't want to waste people's time when they have come and give me their valuable time. I want to speak the right thing, So that's very, very important. In fact, even Mangalacharans, they shouldn't be too long. Sometimes we make a very long Mangalacharan. Now somebody may argue with me, Mataji, as a devotee, how can you say something like that? Mangalacharan, we're just invoking auspicious praise. Yeah, I understand. But it shouldn't be that long. What we can do is, we want to pray definitely before starting a class. We can do it at home or in the room before we start. Do all the Mangala. Maybe you can sing Shikshashtakam and Sadago Swami Ashtakam and all over pranam mantras about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you can start from Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. You can start 20 minutes at your room, you can do it. But when you come to the audience, you just have to be quickly, Prabhupada, and then you just start your class. Because I remember, I came here first time in Mayapur. That was maybe around 95 or 90s. I was a young girl, and in ISKCON Hyderabad, I won a summer camp prize. So because I won a prize, they gave me a free trip to Mayapur. I was in class 7. Okay, so they gave me a free trip to Mayapur, so I came here with my parents. I don't know Guru Maharaj, I don't know Mayapur. I just know ISKCON, and ISKCON has given us free trip, so we are coming and seeing the ISKCON World Headquarters. So me, my sister, and my parents were there, and that time His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj Vyasa Puja was there, because my Siksha Guru is his disciple, so he made it in such a way that he brought us at that time. So me and my sister, we were sitting behind, and Vyasa Puja means they will start speaking, glorifying Guru and all. So every time a speaker comes, for 15-20 minutes he will say that why he is not qualified to speak and what are his disqualifications, and still the organizers have been so kind to give him the mic and chance to speak. This is all they go out for 15-20 minutes, and me and my sister who were sitting in the back, and we were giggling that if they are not qualified, why are they speaking and wasting our time? And if you're not qualified, Baba, give the mic and go. Let us hear somebody who is qualified then. And we were very young, we couldn't understand that humility and all that, we could not understand. But sometimes overdoing humility also is a problem. And we can just okay, I've prepared and I want to say something. I can't keep on talking about my humility and all. We have to be very practical about it. So anyway, I just drifted from so we were somewhere about pleasing. Pleasing, we should sound like their well-wisher, we should actually be their well-wisher, then it works out. So Satyam, Priya, Hitam. In fact, Prabhupada was so sharp. In fact, for the first time when Prabhupada went for a morning walk on the Juhu beach, I know you must have all heard this past time. So first time when Prabhupada went on the morning walk on Juhu beach, and then there are some businessmen with their big dogs, they are also walking, in the morning on Juhu beach. And Prabhupada, when he saw them, Prabhupada said, good morning, and he said that to everybody. And after coming back from the walk, the disciples were asking Prabhupada, why did you say good morning? Why didn't you say Hare Krishna? They would have heard about Krishna. Prabhupada didn't reply. And next day morning when they went for the walk again, those same businessmen whom Prabhupada had said good morning, those same businessmen told Prabhupada, Hare Krishna Swamiji, and then Prabhupada looked at the disciples, So we have to be on their level. Just like, I remember this one pastime where Prabhupada was, I think it was in Philadelphia or somewhere where the neighbors were not very friendly with ISKCON. So when Prabhupada was going for a morning walk, the devotees were telling them, Prabhupada, don't take right. This old lady is not very, friendly to us. And Prabhupada went right inside her, garden where she was sitting. And Prabhupada started, going and talking to her, of the old lady, about how many teeth she has and how many grandchildren she has. And she became so friendly with Prabhupada. And then at the end of it, Prabhupada said, do you like to come for our evening program? And she said, yes, I want to come. So the whole point, how nicely Prabhupada took it, because she felt, he's a well-wisher, right? So we have to relate to them on their level. So it has to be pleasing. See, there is this 4 mantras. If we can, take it in our life, we'll be very successful as a devotee and even as a Bhagavatam speaker. Speak without offending. Whenever something comes out from your mouth, speak without offending. Hear without defending. Don't try to, aisa nahi tha. Just hear without defending. Speak without offending. Hear without defending. Live without pretending. And love without expecting. That's it. If we can just follow these 4 mantras in our life. No pretend. Whatever we are, we are. This is one very important point in Bhagavatam class. In the Bhagavatam class, if you try to imitate somebody, people can understand that fakeness. We shouldn't try to start quoting verses like Amarendra Prabhu. We are not Amarendra Prabhu. He can quote in 50 minutes, he can quote 85 verses. Or either we should try to speak like Amoglila Prabhu and try to create some humor. We are what we are. And people will love us for what we are. Because a peacock, a fish can swim, and a peacock can dance, and a cow can give milk. The cow shouldn't worry that why am I not able to dance, and peacock should not worry that why am I not able to give milk. Krishna has place for everybody, and Krishna likes us the way we are. We don't have to become like somebody else. Whatever we know, whatever is our style. I'm not saying we shouldn't learn from these great speakers of Bhagavatam in ISKCON. We have so many such great speakers. We can learn from them, but we don't have to imitate them. There is a difference between trying to imitate them and learn. We can try to learn, but whatever suits us, our swabhava, we can go that. The more real we are, we'll be happy. The more we try to be fake, we'll be in problem. Then Bhagavatam class will become burden, tension. All the tension and nervousness will come. Anyway, let's keep going. So, Dineshu Sanukampayom Yaha, compassionate. That compassion should be there. That genuine compassion should be there. That I got Krishna and I want to share Krishna with somebody. If you see, your intention catches Krishna's attention. If you genuinely have that compassion, you really want to help others, it will reflect in your speech and people will instantly connect to you. And the last point, Bahuda Bodhan Chaturaha. If you are giving a class, please prepare for the class. We may not have all that scriptural knowledge, and one more thing, if we just read scriptures for preparing for class, it will not work out. You have to read it on regular basis. Then the class will come out nice. Just 1 day or 2 days before that verse is given and then you somehow do something, then it will not come out nicely. A regular sadhana has to be there. So we should have a regular sadhana. It's the 3P formula. Here Prabhupada is saying that when I was first called to speak by one of my senior god brothers, I was hesitating because I had not practiced. So Prabhupada is telling that you should practice your speech. So Prabhupada said, I got the experience, I practiced it and then I went and spoke. So prepare, practice and then present. No harm in preparing and practicing, I tell you. There is this very important quote, very nice quote by Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee says, I am not afraid of a man who has learned 1,000 different kicks. I am afraid of that man who has practiced that one kick for 1,000 times. Got my point? So practicing, just practice whatever. When I remember when I started newly speaking or something, what I used to do is practice in front of Radha Damodar, our deities. Not loudly, others will think I'm mad, but in my mind, just because I wanted Radha Damodar's feedback and I wanted Radha Damodar's blessing. Okay, this is what I'm going, this is how I'm going to present, especially when you have to present 10,000 students or somewhere in a big, this Damodar, I hope I'm speaking well. Is it right? You can practice. You can practice it in your room. You can practice it with somebody if I'm doing it well. This is all for newcomers, all leaders and you've already been doing, but this is one thing I do, so I just want to share. So prepare, practice. See, there is this very famous football kicker. His name was Adam Vinatieri. So this Adam Vinatieri, once when there was a football game in America, he's a very famous football kicker. So there was this 2 sides, 17-17, and the game was draw. And he was the kicker, so they gave him that opportunity to do the final kick. And he just had 2 seconds left. And then he did it, that final kick, and 48 square yard straight kick he made, the goal he made. And everybody was appreciating him. And the press people asked him, how did you do that? So much pressure, thousands of people are looking at you, how could you do it? So he said, I have done this kick 1,000 times before. What he meant to say is 1,000 times I have done it in my mind. 1,000 times I have waited for this moment that this will happen and I'm going to kick it this way. So you have to keep on practicing in your mind, preparing, then it will come out very nicely. So prepare, practice and present. See, of course, these points may sound like very simple, but these are the foundational points, just like, John Wooden, he was a very famous basketball coach in the 1960s. And when people used to come and learn basketball from him, the first 3 days, what he used to do is he used to show them how to wear socks. So sometimes some players used to get pissed off. What is this? I know how to wear socks. No, wear it rightly. Because if you don't wear the socks rightly, you'll get blisters in your feet. So this is a very simple thing, but otherwise you can't play properly. So like that, these are the basic points, but these are the points. Unless until we have Krishna in our heart, unless until we are suhrida, friendly to all, unless and until we have compassion for others, unless and until we prepare, unless and until we read scriptures and learn from scriptures, we can't give a good Bhagavatam class. Now, we are prepared. we prepared for Bhagavatam class. But still, things can go wrong. We should be prepared for that also. I remember Narendra Modi, he was speaking in some rally and his mic got, off. His immediate reaction was, oh, that's all right. I'm a village boy. I've been brought up in village. Even without mic, I can connect to your people. Anyway, connection is heart-to-heart connection. Same thing happened to Rahul Gandhi. His mic was disconnected in the middle of the rally and he started saying, this is a conspiracy. Ye to opposition ka haath hai isme. So it's like, you can understand the person's, and that's why I think people like Modi, because the way he takes things and everything, he'll just make it so lively and so happy, So that is one very important point. No matter how much the world is, I'm sorry? No, not really a Modi fan. I'm a fan of anybody who displays very nice virtues. And then I don't like a person, I just like his virtue. Something about him is nice, and I want to take that point. Now, rest I don't know, and I'm neither a BJP follower or something, I don't know. I'm a Krishna follower, and I don't care who is in the government. Anyway, so, padam padam yad vipadam. We don't know. Even if we prepare everything, things may go wrong. Like we had a projector will not work, or sometimes the mic will not work. I'll tell you one more story, and then I'll try to close the class here. There was this one village, and in a village there was this pond, full of crocodiles. And the village jamindar, he was a sadistic guy. So he came up with this 1,000 gold coins. And he said that anybody who swims across this pond, I'll give you the 1,000 gold coins. And everybody was like, don't want to risk your life. There are so many crocodiles, man-eating crocodiles moving here and there. And while everybody is just looking in the pond, somebody suddenly jumped and started swimming. And everybody was like, my God, kitna brave aadmi hai. And after he just swimmed and came out, people wanted to put a garland on him. And the first thing that he said is that, before you put the garland, I want to know who is that rascal who pushed me inside. Who is the man who pushed me inside? So this is how, this world is so unpredictable. Sometimes we may just prepare for everything, but it may not work out. So we should depend on Krishna during those times. And see, we may get nervous. That happens, right, when you prepare for a class. But I'll tell you, Mark Twain, he's a very famous speaker. And he said, there are two kinds of speaker in this world. One who is nervous and the other one who is a liar. He's a liar. That means everybody's nervous. That's what he's trying to say. Those who are new speakers, they are worried that whether they'll be able to speak nicely or not. And those who are established speakers, they are worried if they will be able to speak up to the mark, up to the name which people are having expectation. But I'll tell you, sometimes nervousness is not nervousness. We may misunderstand it to be nervousness. It may just be excitement. Then we may feel that we are nervous. And even if you're really feeling nervous, then you should understand, what are you nervous for? Are you nervous that people will judge you? Are you nervous that, sometimes people say, I don't want to speak, I don't want to make a fool of myself. But you cannot make something of yourself which you are not. If you are a fool, you are a fool. Let the people know. And if you are smart, let people know that too. Now somebody may say, no, but, these 10 people will go and tell other 10 people, that how stupid I am. So my take on this is, don't worry about these 10 people preaching about your stupidness. What you should worry is your very stupidness. If I am stupid, I'll work on it. And I'll try to not be stupid. I'll just try to increase my knowledge. Now I'll tell you my personal example in my life. I'm not a Telugu. I'm a Gujarati from Bombay, and I don't know a word of Telugu. So when we started preaching in Visakhapatnam, everybody says, speak Telugu. You don't know Telugu? Then, if you don't know Telugu, they cannot connect to you. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll start giving classes in Telugu. So when I started giving classes in Telugu, how I used to give a class? One class, I used to work for days together. Prepare the whole class first in English. Then go to Google Translate. And then translate each word in Telugu. Then again hear the pronunciation in Telugu. Sometimes the pronunciations will be wrong also. And then somehow give that class in a broken Telugu. And then people started writing anonymous letters to me. Stop insulting our Telugu Bhasha. Don't speak in Telugu. You don't know how to speak in Telugu. You are speaking all wrong. Sometimes gender, he, she, he. What are you doing? Please don't speak in Telugu. But I never gave up. I kept on speaking. And even if I didn't know sometimes some words, I used to ask the audience, what do you say this in Telugu? And then I asked them, and then I again speak it, and I again speak it, and I never gave up. I kept on. Sometimes I used to make blunder. See, In Telugu, there is a word called Ummudi Kutumbam, means joint family. Now, I never learned Telugu by reading. I learned Telugu by hearing. So sometimes when you hear it wrong, right? So I was in some TV channel interview, and instead of Ummadi Kutumbam, I said Gummadi Kutumbam, which means a pumpkin, you know. And I mean, like, sometimes I can make so many blunders. And, you know, my son told me, Mama, we should have a Nitai Sevani Mataji Telugu dictionary. If Mataji says this in Telugu means this. If she says this means this, you know. I mean, that bad was my Telugu. And somehow, even though people said so many things, I never gave up. I kept speaking Telugu and I kept speaking Telugu. And not to self-praise, but today I'm the most wanted speaker in Telugu for so many TV channels. I'm not able to give them the dates, you know. So yeah, I managed, you know. I mean, there are some Telugu speaking people here. I don't know if what they will say about my Telugu. My Telugu is okay now. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is how, you know, this is how it is. See, I feel there should be two kinds of people in your life. Shishupal and Jambavan. Shishupal and Jambavan. You should have a Shishupal in your life. Shishupal could take out 100 faults with Krishna. We should have people like that who will give us feedbacks, you know. No matter how nicely you speak, they'll say, you told nice only, but... And they'll say something. But this was not good, but that was not good. That's all right. They're our friends. That kind of people are our friends. They'll tell us where we went wrong. We should never be afraid to take a feedback after Bhagavatam class. It helps us a lot. Feedback is something like a software update on the phone. When you update your phone, you don't get angry. There is a bug. The bug is removed and your phone is updated. If somebody gives you a feedback, it is like a hemoglobin report. Let's say the doctor says your hemoglobin is less. You don't fight with the doctor. You check your hemoglobin before asking my hemoglobin. No. Okay, my hemoglobin is less. I'll work on it. I'll start taking dates and I'll improve my hemoglobin, right? So if somebody gives you feedback, you know, immediately you'll think, he is telling like that, but I know when he gives class, we don't have to get that, mean, you know, he's just saying something. In fact, sometimes we even use Bhagavatam class as a place where you can take your revenge on that devotee, you know. You want to say something to that devotee, just tell in Bhagavatam class. That's it. And the poor fellow, he cannot escape also. He has to sit in the Bhagavatam class. And whatever, revenge, just take it in Bhagavatam class. You know, that kind of Bhagavatam class will not work. They will understand. You should be careful. That's not a place for your management. Sometimes you have something about your, Bhagavatam should be Bhagavatam to increase the love for Krishna. You should not use all your, and sometimes the leaders especially, they're in full of management thoughts and then they'll just come and, start speaking and they're in that angry mood and that whole thing they will give it to the people. And not only that, sometimes what happens as manager, they are so busy in temple management, they're so busy in management that they don't have time for improving their own sadhana and their own reading. As a result, for 15 years, they tell the same story, same class, same story, same class. If they come in here, you understand. No. As a leader, we have to improve ourselves. We have to learn, we have to hear, and we have to keep on upgrading for others. So yes, I said Shishupal in our life, who will keep on telling us our fault so that we will improve, and Jambavan in our life. Jambavan means somebody who told Hanuman, right? Yes, you can do it. Because if we have only Shishupal in our life, after 2 classes, we'll stop giving class. We should have a Jambavan who will tell us, no, I think it was okay. I think you did well. Maybe a little bit effort here and there. You can do it. So we need like that. I had a Jambavan in my life. When I was a young girl, in ISKCON Abbots in Hyderabad. I was just in class 7. And my Siksha Guru, His Grace Atma Tattva Prabhu, he was my Siksha Guru. And I was just a young girl and he told me, you speak well. You can speak. And that one word that he said that you can speak, gave me such encouragement. And I gave my first Bhagavatam class in ISKCON Abbots Temple when I was only in class 7. And it was only because of Atma Tattva Prabhu and his pushing. That helped me so much. He was that Jambavan in my life who told me, yes, I can do it. And now I have another Jambavan in my life as my husband. Even if I don't want to give class, or he is the one who will be pushing me. You should give. You should speak. I just thought I'll speak in English and Telugu. But and then, over a period of time, my husband said, yes, you can give class in Bengali. And I started speaking in Bengali. But then I remember that I'm a Gujarati, so I can speak in Gujarati. So I started giving classes in Gujarati. So now I give classes in English, Hindi, Telugu, Gujarati and Bengali. And I can read and write all these 5 languages. And now I can even read and write Telugu flawlessly. And I have a very beautiful Telugu handwriting. And I can read Telugu books and I even wrote 3 Telugu books. So it's just your hard work, and then, you can do it. But you have to have that Jambavan in your life. So Shishupal or Jambavan. Now with this, I will try to end it with one last thing. If the Bhagavatam class has to be nice, we have to pray. We have to pray very sincerely. Not only a ritualistic Mangalacharan, but it has to be from deep within heart, that Krishna, please help me, so that the right words come out at the right time and I don't waste people's time. It should, it should help me and it should help others. So we have to pray to Krishna from the core of our hearts. We have to pray to Guru. Like Chaitanya Charitamritam, it says, if you remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, hard things, difficult things will become easy. If you don't remember, easy things will become difficult. So you have to remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to remember Guru, you have to remember Krishna. In fact, I'll tell you one last thing and I'll close it. There was this one boy and his father asked him to move a rock which was in the courtyard of the house. His father said, move it. So the son went and he was trying to move it, but he was not able to move it. So he came back to his father and he said, I tried my best, but I couldn't move the rock. So his father said, no, you haven't tried your best. You haven't used your full potential. So he again went, and then he again tried to move it, but he couldn't move it. And then again he came back. His father said, no, you haven't used your full potential. Then he thought, what is my full potential? Then his father said, your full potential is, you should have asked for my help. Since I am available and I am your father, and the fact that you didn't use my strength, that means you're not using your full potential. So if we are not remembering Krishna, we are not using our full potential. Our full potential is to have Krishna in our team. Krishna is a team, it's a team. When we are giving Bhagavatam class, it's not only we who are giving, it's a team job. Krishna is helping us because Krishna also wants us to connect to people. So, but if we don't remember him, then he will become a silent partner. We want him to be an active partner. And then most important is to remember Guru. And I'll tell you one short story and close it. It's a long story, but I'll make it short. There was this one disciple, Guru had told him that I'm going to take a test tomorrow, so be prepared. So the disciple was all ready to give the test. But next day, Guru became busy with something. So Guru said, okay, do one thing, go and stand under the tree and recite whatever verses you know. And if you make a mistake, the leaves from the tree will fall. Get those leaves and come to me and I'll count them. What are the mistakes you have made? So he went and he stood under the tree and he closed his eyes and he recited all the verses. And when he opened his eyes, all the leaves had fallen down. He thought, where did I make a mistake? So he went back to Guru. He said, I just recited flawlessly. Why did this happen? And the Guru asked him, did you remember me? He said, no, I forgot to remember you. So he said, now do it again. So this time when he did it, there's not even one leaf that falls down. So if we don't remember Guru and we don't remember Krishna, it doesn't work. So that's the whole thing. We should remember Guru and Krishna and pray hard. And then definitely, it will be a good Bhagavatam class. So with this, I'll end it here. Thank you so much. And I hope I haven't wasted your time. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.